Oh, sometimes I forget I could talk. Okay, I'm here. Sorry. Turn this down. All right, I'm about to start this COD stuff. See how it goes. Oh, hey, y'all. Go like this tweet. I need a girl. Can y'all hear me okay? You know what? I wanted to switch, but you know what? I'm playing on the Xbox anyway, so it's fine. So can just let me know if you can hear me okay? Or did I hit go live? I did, right? Hi! Oh, my sister's in the chat. So I'm on Xbox. What is this? Okay. I don't know why it's giving me like a tutorial. I'm so scared. Okay, so I have to dive in. This is fresh off the is muito born. What does that mean? Is that good or bad? I don't know what that means. Make sure y'all like the video and share it. No idea what that means. Okay, we're doing quick play, right? Let me see the filters. Feel for all. What should I do? Hardpoint? I don't even know. I'm not playing knockout, prisoner rescue. I'm not playing none of that. I need something like kill confirm is fine. Hardpoint is fine. No. I'll do some domination. No free for all. I didn't even play the beta for this game. You hear me? They also have a co-op mode, so that'll be really cool. So let's go. Oh, very good. Oh, multiple. I don't know. Was that like a typo? All right, my first match ever. It's gonna be bad. Another code of contact. Okay. I'm scared. Wait, back up. Cause I only got one operator. Okay, yeah, they're like, you have nothing. You have nothing. Also, I don't even know if all my packs downloaded, but big shout out to Activision because they actually gifted me a code. Oh, that's what I forgot to put. Shit. I totally forgot that. I'm gonna have to redo this tweet. So don't share that tweet. I'm actually gonna have to fucking FTC disclose and shit. Hold on. I don't hear people. Oh god, no. Hold on, I gotta redo the tweet because I forgot to disclose. kind of messed up. I don't know how to make sentences, bro. Is anybody playing and want to play with me?
Securing Charlie.
Because the way I don't know any of these guns. Okay.
Charlie secure.
I would play domination. Feels good though. I gonna hold you. I'm probably gonna get shot. Is this like a big map? Oh, I'll be hating. Oh, I'll be forgetting. I'm gonna get clapped because I have no awareness. No. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, I got it. I got it. Okay. Okay, we start with a twofer. Okay, I ain't mad at it.
DDoS active.
Oh, this is kind of like.
We are losing Bravo.
This reminds me of Banging Again a little bit. Oh god, where's my teammate? Oh,
enemy is securing Charlie.
Oh god.
The enemy took Bravo.
Play already, Jedi. You played.
Securing
I don't know where my teammates are.
We have lost all objectives. Failure is not an
Even
option.
if I have teammates. Was this like a... I don't even know, because I can't find nobody. Is this how it...
Securing objective Charlie.
Oh, I hate this map.
We control Charlie. Enemy UAV overhead.
Why is it so spread out? I'm so confused right now. Y'all have no idea. Like, I'm literally confused because I'm like, what? Where's my teammates? What is respawn?
Enemy is taking
Am I
Charlie.
just... We're at A. Oh, there's...
The enemy has captured 2 objectives. Move to secure.
Oh? What? Man is sniping. Oh my god. But of course the servers were shot. Bruh, I don't know why y'all talking about launch. Like, I was not trying to launch that. I knew them servers was gonna be hit.
Enemy UAV active.
After I heard people who haven't played this game in 4 years talking about they gonna be playing. I'm like, oh, you know what? I could see this one. Shooting suck. Oh my god. I don't like this gun. It's not like a long range. I need like, they don't got like LMGs.
We are taking Alpha.
Oh, this is locked. Like this is our baby game, I guess. I'm just trying to break even. Oh my god, I hate the sniper. I don't even have a sniper. Why am I in this game? Bruh. I have no access to a sniper.
Hostile SAE
in
position. Hostile cruise missile.
Grenade, watch out! Flash incoming!
Oh. Oh, sorry.
Hostile UAV in the area.
I got flashlight. Oh god, this one's
Changing mag!
quick. Oh. That is so unfortunate. Oh, I saw him! Oh my goodness!
Enemy UAV overhead. Hostile cruise missile incoming.
I'm trying to, like, this... Also, the first match is gonna be the worst match. Because, baby, it's the way I don't know any of these maps, no nothing.
Ah! Oh. The enemy is gaining ground. Push them back.
Oh my god,
We are
it's two of
taking
them.
Bravo. Hostile enemy
What is
UAV.
this
Enemy is
lobby?
securing
I
Alpha.
ain't played this shit in that long. I'm sorry.
Alpha secure.
I'm so like
We have lost Charlie.
competitive. I'm gonna be annoyed about the first match. Are you serious? Yeah, I don't like this map. We doing map run-throughs. This is not my map. Nope.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Also, I'm running, so they probably could hear me coming. I know, hold you.
Enemy! I'm with you. Loading!
Securing objectives Bravo. The enemy controls 2 objectives. Push the offensive.
You popping that shit? Okay.
Bravo secure. Hostiles launched an SAE. We are taking Charlie.
Good one.
Ghost online. We control all objectives. Maintain the enemy is taking Bravo.
It's not bad. It's Chris. I ain't gonna hold you. It feels good. Like a couple bullets to shoot. Hardcore gonna be lit. I ain't gonna hold you.
We are losing Alpha. Hostile cruise missile launched. We have lost Alpha.
Really? Do we have stems?
Friendly care package on the way.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Our UAV is in the area. We are taking Alpha.
No, we're not. We're gonna die, but
We are losing Charlie. Securing objective Alpha. Our counter UAV is active. Objective Charlie is compromised. Take it back. Securing objective Charlie. We control Alpha.
oh shit! I got
Enemy is securing Alpha. All objectives secure. Expect counterattacks. Objective
Right,
Alpha is
what's up?
compromised. Take it back. Securing Alpha. We hold all objectives. Keep them secure.
Holding!
Enemy is taking Bravo.
Huh?
Enemy is taking Alpha. Friendly UAV on station.
Oh,
Enemy is taking Charlie. The enemy took Alpha.
Changing max!
what's up, Nishika? Wait, did my sister leave too? And Jedi. Anybody else in chat? Feel free to say hi. Oh shoot, am I seeing the live chat? Did you play this morning or last? You said when it launched.
Enemy suppression mine destroyed!
Enemy UAV active. We have secured 2 objectives. We have the lead.
Oh, we got the lead back. Okay.
I'm with you.
Oh my god. It's the talking for me. Ooh, I got a missile thing.
Enemy is securing Bravo. We are taking Alpha. We are losing Bravo.
Grenade!
Objective Bravo is compromised. Take it back.
Oh my god.
Secure Bravo.
It's like I cannot wait to unlock some stuff.
We control Bravo. Enemy UAV overhead.
Y'all just watched him come
Enemy
out.
contact! Low on ammo.
Friendly UAV online.
Oh, I forgot about the map. I ain't gonna hold you. I did not look at that map once. I'm a terrible person.
Enemy is taking Bravo. Enemy UAV active. We control 2 objectives. Enemy is securing Bravo.
Flush out!
Enemy is securing Charlie. We have lost Bravo. The enemy holds
Bro,
all
why do I
objectives.
like this
Secure
game?
those
This is
positions.
ridiculous.
We are taking Bravo.
Bring back the camping. Let's go.
I'm with you.
Secure
Oh.
Bravo. Objective Bravo
He
secure.
got me good. Hey, bring back the camping.
We are taking Charlie.
Reloading.
Enemy!
This joint is like
Securing
actually gonna be
Charlie.
toxic. I even know.
We are losing Bravo.
Oh, we lost by 5.
Mission failed. Return to base.
Dang. Okay, I wasn't last. That was the goal. Holy crap. 13 and 16. Okay, I'm starting with like a point, what, 8-ish. Still locked. Where are we locked till 4? There's a firing range? What? I actually don't mind it. Okay. So how's everyone's day going? Welcome to the stream. I hope y'all can see it. Oh, I got some. I'm pretty sure I have like... Look at these mixed lobbies, bro. It's like Xbox versus PC players. Did anybody want to play with me? Oh my god, where's... Oh, I forgot to share this in the chat. Oh no.
Y'all confirmed? Yeah.
I'm reloading! Covering your 6!
Oh my god. I hear voices. What is this? M4? Alright, let's do it. I ain't trying to hear that bull crap. Oh my god, is this Piccadilly?
We've taken the lead.
No. We're in. Oh! Jesus. Okay, I'm getting used to... I wanted to try the M4 gun. I'm gonna try it. Damn it.
We've lost the lead.
Oh god, you scared the shit. Oh! I don't know this map, so I'm like gonna die to. Oh my god! Oh my god! I don't like that gun. I don't like that gun. Bring me back to the hurricane. Thank you. I was like, give me back to the hurricane. Oh god, I can't wait to do my own loadout, bro. I was making noise. Dang it. I'm not the best right now. Hello. Okay, so.
Hostile UAV in the area.
We've asked for a while. They want to claim as a 70-30 split.
Enemy UAV overhead. Tag secure, kill confirmed.
On your 6.
Ooh, I got a long shot.
Cold-blooded.
It's so hard not to run. But that's why I used to use like LMGs, because they force me not to like make noise.
I got your back.
UAV standing by.
It's just like,
Changing mag.
oh my goodness.
1-1 requesting recon at this time.
Copy. UAV is on station. Recon online.
Oh shit. They're like surrounding us? What the heck?
UAV is bingo fuel. RTB at this time.
Oh shit, he scared the crap out of me.
Covering your 6.
Enemy UAV active.
Reloading.
We're losing. Catch up.
On your 6.
What is this map?
Notch 1. Ghost online.
Oh, what is this map? How do I ping? I don't even know.
Taking fire.
Oh, I should have kept spraying. Wait, where?
Our UAV is orbiting the area.
What's the damn tag?
Reloading.
Oh, this way? Oh, how did I mess it up? Oh my god.
The lead is ours.
Why is
I'm
she-
reloading.
Shut up.
The enemy's taken the lead.
Oh god. Who died?
Confirm that one.
This man letting our shit, he made our tag wait out there because he wanted. This is crazy. I'm gonna take one of y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna take one of y'all. Cut it out. That's right.
Changing mags. Covering your 6. Contact! Sniper's down!
Oh, shoot. Oh my god, I didn't have the bullets for it. What's up, Shell? Child, this is like the second official game. I played my first. I'm trying to get comfortable. I'm just trying to unlock my thing at this point, honestly. Oh, Jesus, you scared me.
Enemy UAV overhead. Friendly UAV on station. You're halfway to mission complete. Stay sharp. Friendly cluster mine
Oh
set.
god, he scared me. I'm sorry. I'm panicking.
Throwing chalk sticks!
We're
On your
winning.
6! Changing mags!
We've lost the lead.
Oh my god. Look at that.
Vaults in line.
I can't get a break.
We've taken the lead. Confirmed.
I'm about to run this game. Oh my god, I knew it. It's fine, we had to do it.
The enemy's taken the lead.
Oh my god. What is this, 50? Oh my god, what's up, Shell? Shell,
Hostile
are you
UAV
playing
in
this
the
today?
area.
I'm not even gonna be here today. I don't even think I could do esports CCP. So I woke up to like a crazy text. I was so excited.
Threats in the area! Covering your 6!
Enemy UAV overhead. Kill confirmed.
Oh man. Oh, we might lose. We might lose. Oh, it ain't gonna
The
be
lead
on
is
me.
ours.
Hell, motherfucking no, it ain't gonna be on me.
Enemy UAV active.
Oh no. Oh, it's like to 100 to 75. What is 2?
1 minute left.
1 minute left. I'm sorry, sir. I'm pretty sure that guy didn't die. Oh, okay.
EKIA confirmed. Hostile UAV in the area.
Changing mags!
Thirty seconds remain. We've lost the lead. Kill confirmed.
Reloading!
Enemy UAV overhead. Confirm that one. 10
I'm
seconds
trying.
remaining.
I'm trying. You're like the worst freaking. Oh my god. Of course. It's the 60? Oh no, it's
Mission
the
failed.
minutes.
Return to
I will
base.
when I'm off. I played a little last night. Yeah. I'm only streaming for a little bit. How you doing, Soul? Oh, that's me. Oh my god. Damn. I feel some type of way. Oh, I made it one though. 18 and 17. Let's go. Okay. We got customs. Okay. And bump it louder. Y'all already know where I'm going. On the radio. Oh, this is the. Oh man, we're finna struggle. Bro, where is shipment? Stop playing with me. Am I toxic? Like, where is shipment? Turn me on. Louder. Where is shipment? Isn't it Modern Warfare? Is that? Well, no, because it was in Black Ops. Oh, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure it was in the last one. I don't even know what maps are in. I ain't gonna hold you, but I know damn sure. Ugh, not the hotel. Is Piccadilly in here? Because if it is, I don't want it. Why am I getting teammates that are on PC? Like,
Team deathmatch.
What's your buck?
The lead is ours.
I'm with you. Visual on the other.
Damn.
Enemy incoming!
I'm trying to get used to the maps. I'm trying to see what we're used to what. I didn't play no betas, no nothing, so everything is really
What's your buck?
Oh my god. I already hit this gun. I need a sight.
The enemy has the lead.
Reloading! Enemy incoming!
Oh, y'all busting. Oh, we busting.
Enemy! Loading!
I didn't see my teammate was there. Holy shit. Damn.
I'm with you.
All you hear is footsteps, bro. People been come. Do we switch sides?
Enemy spotted!
Where? Oh, like I spotted them?
Hardline online.
Bro.
Line cover! Flash incoming!
Oh shit, I'm dead. He didn't even run in. He died. Losing. Don't you killing him? Oh, come on. We lose this.
reloading. Changing mag.
Bro, my shit. The loudest thing in the room, bro.
Hostile SAE incoming. Hostiles launched a cruise missile.
Loading.
Hostile UAV in the area. Friendly UAV online. Enemy UAV active. Enemy UAV overhead.
People upstairs. Wow, it's
Friendly
so
cruise missile approaching target.
We've lost half the field. Fight back.
Hostile UAV in the area.
You get 10 kills. You still didn't send me the address. Okay. Oh my god, you scared me. Okay. I'm spraying and praying at this point. What is this, my third game or my second? Not
Enemy
third.
UAV active.
Quick fix.
Enemy in the area. Changing mag.
Oh, it's around this corner. Okay, got it. I did not die at the same spot because that's insanity. I can't.
I'm with you. Enemy close.
Oh, I don't like
Our
this.
UAV is orbiting the
This
area.
is gonna get bad. It's like extremely large maps. Do they have any medium or
Hostile
small
UAV
maps?
in the area.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I don't even think I upgraded this gun enough. Or I don't have enough kills. Oh my god. You look like you know where you're going. Let me follow you. He don't know where he's
Hostile
going.
cruise missile launched.
Oh, what? I want to see this bullshit. Bro, I was shooting at him. Oh,
Friendly UAV
he
online.
don't even show like he got hit or nothing. I guess we lost. Very new map. I'm gonna have to get used to all these maps.
Enemy UAV.
Get this gun. I gotta take it to the range.
Requesting recon flyover.
Low on
Copy.
ammo.
UAV orbiting the AO. Recon is unlocked.
Enemy close.
Okay.
Loading.
Got 53. Shoot.
Friendly UAV on station. Enemy UAV
Enemy in the
active.
area.
What?
Losing ground.
Oh, how did I not get him? Okay.
Changing back.
I hate that it doesn't show your KD. It's so stupid.
Reloading.
These death animations. Wow, bro.
Loading.
So Terrence ordered like Indian food and like
Mission
I think he
compromised.
stole my
We're done.
naan, like my naan bread. Oof. Bro, when you don't know the maps, it's so annoying. Okay, got PDM. Attachment. Let me see if this attachment is worth it. I didn't even really customize this thing, did I? Okay, how do I? Where's that gunsmith? So awkward. I don't even know what the hell I just got. A muzzle? No. A barrel. What does it do? Aim down, sight speed, recoil, damage range, hip fire. I mean, I don't need that right now anyway. Secondaries is shotgun joint. Let's try that. Oh, wait, that's not one. All you got is the deployable portable radar. Oh, that ain't bad. I guess I could take that for now. Y'all so quiet today. Now you be like, where is everybody? Y'all good? Can y'all hear me? Alright. I'm probably gonna do like another well, I have to go somewhere. So, oh, I was telling y'all the wait, Outlast Trials is out too? What is going on? So many things.
Location updated. Capture the hard point.
Loading. Changing mag.
Oh,
Hard
we're
point.
back on this map. Okay, it's fine. I'll get used to it the more I play it.
Last mag.
Man's was getting
Enemy personnel
everything.
at the hard point.
Where is Hardpoint?
Area.
Got a triple. I don't care.
Hard point compromised. Secure the area.
I mean, like I got a triple. I really don't need. Oh God, he's kidding me. Boy.
Loading.
Friendly UAV on station.
Target marked. Request fire.
Deployed.
God damn.
Confirming next hard point. Enemies inside the
I knew I was gonna die.
Friendly UAV online.
Okay, okay, we doing something here.
Hard
Okay,
point
Hardpoint.
relocated. Secure the target area.
Where is it?
Changing max!
His gun is
Friendly UAV on
collapsing.
station.
Hello? That's the RPG. Why is it out here? Lunatic.
What's your run?
Oh, I couldn't see him. He flashbanged
Friendly
us.
SAE on the way.
That's good. Alright, let's not stall this.
Planting sonar!
I'm with you.
Literally see them.
The next hard point. Get ready. Enemy personnel at the hard point.
I knew I was gonna die. I don't know why I did that. That was so
UAV overhead.
stupid. Me.
Target area updated. Move to the hard point.
Oh. Hopefully we're closer, but I ain't going on that biatch by myself. And then they got narcotics between two buses.
Covering you.
Enemy UAV active.
Like he didn't see man's behind him. Damn. I just killed myself. Oh no.
Hard point relocating. Stand by. Friendly UAV online. Hard point compromised. Secure the area. Hard point relocated. Secure the target area.
This man jumped. I didn't even know you could jump. Okay. Actually,
Our
don't mind.
UAV is orbiting the area.
What's your run?
Friendly care package in the AO.
He said watch your back and I didn't.
Hostile UAV in the area. Your
I
halfway
was the
mission
lowest
complete.
time
Keep
because
fighting.
that damn hardpoint hates
Friendly
me.
SAE launched.
Bruh.
High alert activated.
Oh, you are here. Where are you at? You home? You chilling? What's up, Nishika? Always
Confirming next hard point. Stand by.
Incoming!
Oh, bitch.
Target area updated. Move to the hard point. Friendly combat active.
Oh my god. Where is the hard point? Me trying to figure out this map for the first time is wild. Or second time.
Reloading.
UAV on station.
Deploying portal radar!
Enemy personnel at the hard point.
Oh god, I thought it was him.
Target marked. Request fire mission.
God.
Friendly crew.
Oh my god, how did I mess up that shot? I need to aim higher. I don't know, I need to be a little bit more sensitive. Where? Oh my
Hard point compromised. Secure the area. Location updated. Capture the hard point.
Grenade!
Oh my god. This guy, I'm getting
Enemies inside the
dragged.
perimeter. Hard point compromised. Secure the area.
I hate this damn hard point. I'm so blind.
Reloading.
Shock stick out!
Enemy personnel at the hard point.
He was in the corner. Of course he was. He can't get on the point. Well,
Locating the next hard point. Get ready.
alright, let's go.
Enemies inside the perimeter. Target area updated. Move to the hard point.
got doubled. Doubled.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
Loading.
Wait, who is bro?
Switching back! Incoming flash!
On the enemy.
He was on my right. I thought somebody was there. Okay, I got my little radar thing.
Hardpoint relocating. Stand by.
Sonar!
Loading. On your six.
Bruh.
Hardpoint
Am I just the
relocated.
bait
Secure
at
the
this
target
point?
area.
I am. I'm the bait. Because I'm pretty sure I have the lowest time. Yep.
Our UAV is orbiting
There's
the
somebody
area.
like 3 seconds. Never mind.
Reloading.
Friendly UAV online. UAV overhead.
Enemy incoming.
We've got them on the run. Keep it up.
Bro,
Enemy personnel at the hard
oh
point.
my god.
Friendly cruise missile
It's
approaching
fine.
target.
It's fine.
Locating the next hard point. Get ready. Location update.
Visual on the enemy.
I moved anyway, so.
I'm with you.
Enemies inside the... Compromise. Secure the area.
I need to do headshots, bro. I'm so upset. Oh,
Friendly UAV on station.
I
Enemy
hit the map
personnel
on
at the
this
hard
side.
point.
I'm not good with the map on the left.
Confirming next hard point. Stand by. Our UAV is orbiting the area.
Come on. Get out of here, bro.
Hard point relocated. Secure the target area.
I knew it. The pain I have felt in my hand. I've probably died 25 times. I'm gonna hold you. I'm probably like I'm pretty far behind.
Enemy.
Hard point compromised. Secure the area. Friendly cruise missile deployed.
Incoming!
Hello? Who shot? I should have
Watch your
watched that.
back.
I was like, who the hell shot me?
Enemy UAV active. Enemies inside the perimeter. Hard point relocated. Stand by. Hard point.
This fucker just freaking left the door open. Let's go! There we go.
Mission is complete. Good work.
That's good. Let's go. Oh, you're back on call? Oh, damn, I hope you're getting paid being on call. Oh, yeah. Oh, I broke even. Let's go. I needed that last triple. I needed that last triple. Let's go. Uh-oh. Gotta update. Okay. What the hell was that about? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, did they just lose? What the heck? 41 seconds. Wait, what? is this? You get a monthly guarantee. That's what's up. Did it freeze? Uh-oh. What do I do? Oh, there we go. See, Terrence actually sent me the address to this place. So yeah, so not only so remember I told you Terrence fractured his foot. So this morning I get like this call from my mom, like way early in the morning, and then she texts me and she's like, my brother fractured his arm on the job, and like he like basically, I don't know, like I don't even want to tell y'all because he like basically like smushed 2 fingers. It's kind of sad. I don't know what he touched or what he did, but what is this? Why are my queue times going back? Hello? Oh man. I only got 2 games. Look at this. I only got 2 games. Yeah, I got 2K and COD. That's all that could hold on here. Yeah. I hope he heals as well. What's up, Variety Princess? How you doing? Yeah. Okay, we back. They be like, we back. Oh, we should do some free for all. Why not? I ain't with nobody. Oh wait, bro. I hope it saved that last game's thing because I got like mad stuff. Didn't I unlock some stuff, Schmidt? Oh, we got a muzzle. Bruh, I don't think it's safe. I only got the barrel. I don't care about recoil right now. Bro, what? Okay, I like that. What you up to, Variety? Damn, I hope he heals okay. Thank you, Shell. I started playing Terra on Xbox. I'm on Xbox right now. Terra's still around? Oh, they stopped support for it, right? Workers' comp on their asses. Yeah, he actually went to his union building. He works for MTA, so yeah.
Podcast.
You can do it. Okay.
I'm sorry. But yeah, thank y'all. So tonight, I need to text. I was telling Esports CCP that I might not be able to be there because I'm going to I was going to an event and then coming straight back here, but instead I'm going to an event and then probably go to my mom. Yeah. Ooh, what's this? Smaller? Smaller man? Smaller man? Let me fix my headset so I can hear like a... What is this? Free for all? I don't know.
Free for all!
Show Liz. We finna die. I know these hoes running gunning. Oh. Where is everybody? Oh. I know he hear me coming. Sheesh. Tried it. Try me. Try me. Back in the day, low key. This is all I used to play. Like, honestly, when I first started playing Call of Duty, because I figured I didn't have any friends, I used to just play free for all. But I probably suck now.
Hostile UAV in the area.
I just remember one time they did like this.
Fast hands online. Hostiles launched an SAE. Hostile mortar strike in the area.
He ran. Oh, he threw him back. What a hoe. That was funny. Oh, God. But yeah, back in the day, because like I don't know, in my mind, this is like before I started streaming and stuff. I just thought like people were with friends all the time, and you had to have a friend to play like the other stuff. So I used to just run free for all. I don't know why. They're just locking all these doors and shit. I know somebody up here sniping. Behind. I got
Enemy
prisoner.
UAV active.
Damn, I was doing good too. Shoot. Ah! Keep running. Let me see this fool still in here.
Online.
Isn't no freaking button? Stupid. Are you dumb or are you dumb? I'm so sorry. I'm toxic.
UAV ready to deploy.
Won't be no life up in this beach.
Copy. UAV.
Hostile mortar
You
strike
see who
incoming.
win it? You see who got it? You know who stuck to the code? You know if I got it? I'm sorry. I'm so stupid.
UAV is being fuel. RTB at this time.
Oh, they all over this
Enemy
side.
UAV overhead.
I don't give a shit. Ooh. Good spot. Poke that head out. That's a good spot. I ain't gonna hold him. Shoot. Oh, you thought. Oh, he got me. He got me. He got me. Dang. Not gangster. You see who winning? You see who got it? You see who stuck to the code? But yeah, I used to play a lot of Free For All. I don't know why. It was fun though, like low key doing free for alls and like. I'm back. Oh, I shouldn't chase, but I did. I'm making noise on purpose. Come to me, daddy. I missed shit. I'm gonna die on this reload probably. Where is he? Oh! I messed it up. Oh man. Somebody breathing up here? Like. Thanks. You see who wins? You see who got it? Ooh, who missed it? You see who stuck to the code? I should have kept shooting. I should have kept shooting. They coming from my neck now. I hear him. Crazy. But this is Camp City. When you play Free For All, oof. Camp City. Because all you gotta do is just wait for somebody to run by. They're kind of busted though. Oh, I saw it too late. Oh, I'm good. I'm playing some Free For All. I haven't played this in years. But this is honestly on Modern Warfare 2 Steam. This was what I played, Free For All. I don't know why. I just had fun with it. Where's that at? Damn. I got the double though.
Hostile UAV in the area.
What the fudge? Was that man on the roof? I know they looking for me now. I heard you host was looking for me. Bitch, here I go. I just saw somebody. Oh, there you go. Alright, let's go around. Oh man. I don't know who you was looking for. Oh, I should know went in. I should know went in. I'm messing it up. Oh man. How long we got left? I'm second. Not okay. Eh? Oh, you stink. Damn it, he looking for me, Che. He looking for me. Dang, don't look for me. Here, hold on, let me see. Oh.
1 minute remaining. Hostile mortar strike near your position.
They're about to go ham. They're about to go ham.
30 seconds remain.
Come on, give me my kill. I'm upset. The music ain't helping either. Bruh, I'm gonna get my kill.
10 seconds remaining.
Let's go. I was hoping somebody followed me. Let's go. I'm not gonna get it. Ah. Oh my God. Let's go.
Mission is complete. Good work.
Oh, free for all. Let's go. You see who winning? You see who got it? Oh, damn. I can't relate. Now I'm saying can't relate. Dang. Not your YouTube dad. Bruh. That was pretty lit. I don't know if I can do it again though, but that was pretty lit. I'm gonna do another. I don't know if they're gonna throw me in because it's quick play, yeah. Oh, domination. That was so fun. We gonna make clips out of that one. Some YouTube shorts. I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. I'm about to get ready to leave. So I'm out of here in like 20 minutes. I got like 2 more games than me. Crap in the lobby, yeah.
Securing Charlie.
Covering your 6.
I'm so sorry, buddy.
Charlie secure. We've taken the lead. Secure
Bravo. I just have to hip fire. You didn't hear me coming?
Enemy securing Bravo. Enemy securing Charlie.
Somebody.
The enemy took Bravo.
Oh.
On your 6.
Where are we going? We not going to Bravo?
We've lost all objectives. We have to turn this around now.
That sounds like a damn
We're taking Alpha. Securing objective Bravo. Alpha secure.
I've been thinking he could just run it up, like.
Standing by. Almost secure.
Oh, bro, this is like a game, and I'm already feeling good. Okay, this might be the wave. Shit, I ain't gonna hold you. This might be it.
Enemy securing Alpha.
Switching max.
Maybe too far down though. I don't see him. Where is he shooting me from? Hello?
Enemies taking Alpha.
Bro. Where's Bravo?
We control 2 objectives. Took Alpha.
It's prone.
Fast hands online.
Oh shoot. Damn, autocorrect.
The enemy has captured 2 objectives. Securing objective Alpha. Securing Alpha.
Ah! I did not know. I don't know.
Securing objective Alpha.
So I'm getting this map a lot, which is not bad. It's like the Formula 1 map, I guess. It's not too bad, so. Okay, we got B. I don't like this. We're losing so
Friendly
bad.
UAV on station.
UAV, I didn't
Enemy
even
taking
know.
Bravo.
Reloading.
Securing objective Charlie.
Covering your 6.
The enemy holds all objectives. We control Charlie.
Well, we control Charlie. We need to get probably because I suck. If I'm at the top,
Securing Alpha.
this might not be.
Enemy UAV active. UAV is orbiting the area. The enemy holds 2 objectives. We control Alpha. Hostile UAV in the area. We're taking Bravo.
I don't know where they could come from.
We control all objectives. Secure the perimeter. We're losing Alpha.
Bro, I wonder what my lobbies are gonna be like this time around. How Vanguard was freaking all over my
We've lost
body.
Alpha.
My Vanguard lobbies are super sweaty, like ridiculously sweaty. I'm hoping this one I'm with the scrubs. The scrub is anything his name. Type of thing. Alright, let me go with you. Bradley.
2 objectives secure.
Got this, Bradley.
We're losing Charlie.
How we losing Charlie, bro? We right here. What the hell?
Enemy's taking Charlie. We're taking Alpha.
Bro, we right
Hostiles
here.
launched a cruise missile. The enemy took Charlie.
Oh god, he's playing. Why is he? Bro, they're not playing objective. It's Overwatch all over again. Hello?
Overhead.
I'm reloading!
I'm gonna die on this reload.
Got your 6!
Enemy UAV active.
Bro, we was right here. How did they take Charlie? Okay, somebody might be in it.
Friendly UAV online. We're taking Charlie. The enemy controls 2 objectives. Get after him. The enemy's gaining
Right to
ground.
the area.
Push him. We're losing Bravo. Objective Charlie secure. Objective Bravo is compromised.
Bro, I'm at
Get
the
it
top
back.
because I'm doing the most objectives, and that's bullcrap because I hate objectives. I don't do objectives. You know what? Why am I even playing domination at this point? It's like the worst thing for
Enemy
me.
securing Charlie. Securing Alpha.
Reloading!
Securing objective Bravo. We're taking Alpha.
How are we losing, bro?
We control Bravo.
Where are they coming from? Alpha? I hear foot. I don't see him.
Enemies taking Bravo. UAV ready for tasking.
Yes, it is. Oh, somebody behind me?
Grenade!
Hey? Oh! Who did it?
UAV on station. We've secured 2 objectives.
I'm so lucky. That could have been a triple.
We're losing Bravo.
Daz, what's up? How you doing?
All objectives secure. Hold what you got. We've lost Bravo.
Oh! No! What do I get for reading chat?
Enemy securing Alpha.
Not them trying to come back. We still losing. We need that. Wait, go get them. Where is everybody? Shoot their asses. Damn.
Objective Alpha is compromised. Get it secure, Bravo.
Seen that guy.
Objective Bravo secure. We're losing Charlie.
Oh, I gotta stop, like,
Objective
you know what
Charlie
I'm
is
doing,
compromised.
right? I'm like,
Get it back.
Oh, they ain't here. Bro. It's fine. I had a good match, but if we lose, we lose. Screw these people.
We control Charlie.
How many do we control? 2? Oh, good. Now we just need the kills. Shoot.
Enemy securing Bravo. The enemy took Bravo. Securing objective Alpha. Objective
On
Alpha
your
secure.
six. Back.
Moving here.
Incoming.
I got popped. That wasn't. I thought it was a grenade. I was about to be so bad. Okay.
1-1 requesting recon at this time.
Copy. UAV is on station. Recon online.
Enemy in the area.
Bravo.
Reloading.
We gotta take Bravo. Oh, we're
Enemy
losing by like
taking
1
Alpha.
point. Oh.
We hold all objectives.
Oh
Keep them
my
secure.
God.
The lead is ours.
Oh my God. I don't care about this stupid
Be
objective.
advised,
Nah,
UAV is exiting the AO.
I'm not shit.
Enemy's taking Charlie. We're losing Alpha.
What you want
The
today?
enemy took Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha and Charlie because
We've lost Charlie. Hostile UAV in the area.
They might win because they gonna get the kills. We don't got a formation.
We're taking Charlie.
Is there no
We're
ping in
taking
this?
Alpha. Hostile care package deployed.
Deploying portable radar.
Incoming. Objective Charlie secure. Enemy UAV overhead. Objective Charlie is compromised. Get it back.
We got A though.
Securing Alpha. Alpha secure. Hostile cluster mine active. Securing objective Charlie. We're taking Charlie. Enemy's taking Bravo.
Where is he? Let me see this.
Enemy UAV
Oh,
active.
is he crouched? Yeah,
Enemy
okay.
securing Bravo.
I did not see him. I like saw the yellow thing because I have high alert, but
We've got him on the run. Keep it up. Two objectives secure.
where are we
We're
getting to
losing Bravo.
200? Like, how do you win this shit? What's up, buddy?
Reloading. Deploying portable radar.
He was fucking reloading.
Securing
He
Alpha.
was reloading. Oh, you scared the crap out of me. Let's go!
Mission complete. Solid work.
Look at that. Solid work. I got 3,000. The next person got 2,007. Boy. They better be me. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Reloading.
That's straight headshots with a LMG. Damn. They make fun of people who play with LMGs, by the way. Like, they make fun of me all the time. Like, all the time. I get dragged. Like, why are you using an LMG? And it's really because it's to slow me down on purpose. Like, that's literally... I gotta get to level 20. Oh, what time is it? I gotta keep my eye on the time. Okay, I gotta get off soon. Probably around 3:30 or something. Okay, what map was this? How many maps are in here? Zarqua. Oh, this is a new one for me. Okay, this might be bad. But if y'all are playing this weekend, I might hop on with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Might do a little extra.
Kill confirmed.
I'm gonna follow this guy. He was like, he know where he going.
Got your cover.
Look at that. Oh, of course. Of course, the bad peak. Okay. It's fine. That one's
Throwing
fine.
flash grenade. Changing mag.
Oh! Oh! We're dusty here. Me and that guy. Jeez. 0 kills up What the heck? What the hell? Chill on me! I only have one. I'm new to this map. Damn! Get out Was this map in the beta? I feel like this would be like some beta ass map they put in.
Hostile UAV in the area.
It's pretty though. I actually like that sprite and stuff. I just don't know where anything is. I'm trying to like look at the map and in front of me at the same time. Like, how does that work? Oh god. Oh, it said I killed him? Oh, I thought the guy behind me killed him. I ain't gonna hold you.
Confirmed. Enemy KIA.
Oh, we gotta confirm. I'm 1 of 3 confirmed. Oh, they're shooting up over here. I see. Can you swim? Oh, you can.
Enemy UAV
Oh, it's
active.
one of them hybrids. I should have shot the water jet. Oh, he saw me. Oh my god. He saw me underwater. What? Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I want to swim. I'm so excited though. Wait, yeah, this is literally my... Oh, this is not a combat area? I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm new to the damn map. Y'all should have directions. How about that?
I'm loading.
I knew I was gonna die. Two coming. Hopefully they could... I'm
On your 6.
Hostile cruise missile launched. Hostile cruise missile in. Gas cannons activated. Enemy
Bruh! I knew this was gonna be bad, but damn. Not this bad. Are they even confirming kills? That's what I meant to ask. Like, are they confirming? Oh, I did not see that other person. I like this map. I just gotta get used to it. I gotta know the corners because it's like I think it's a smaller map with more
hostile
cover.
UAV in the area.
So I'm trying to like get the hang of it. It's my first time on this map, so oh yeah.
Reloading.
Yeah. That's what Thorby's saying. He like copies everything I'm saying. When he was a kitten, all I played was like Call of Duty in the mornings, and he would be in my lap. So when he be screaming and stuff, so many of them. Oh, this map is very satisfying. I just gotta get the hang of it. I don't know who shot it. That's a crazy part. Crazy on him. I ain't gonna hold you. Gotta go crazy on him.
Enemy UAV overhead.
This is very much a running gun map, and because I'm running an LMG, and but I'm also trying to like understand the map, I'm gonna die a lot. So don't worry about it. It's a learning thing. This is how I learn. Oh. Wait, what?
High alert activated.
Hello? Were you not dead? Wait, what? Why was that person not dead? What the hell is that? Oh, somebody got a triple kill.
Secured the kill.
I guess I accepted the challenge. I got a quad kill,
Deck
motherfucker.
secured. Kill confirmed.
Like I said, it's a learning experience. Oh, they're running and gunning like a mug. You're not gonna jump out? I'm surprised he didn't run in on me.
Enemy UAV active.
Boy.
Friendly UAV online. Hostile counter UAV.
Oh. I got the assist. It's cool. Oh, I got
Requesting recon fire!
Low on ammo.
UAV orbiting the AO. Recon is
Enemy
online.
UAV down.
everybody getting triple kills. Wait, I want one.
confirmed.
I heard the footsteps.
UAV is bingo fuel. RTB at this time.
You see who winning? You see who got? We're actually losing. We need to pick
Friendly
up more
UAV
tags.
on station.
I'm gonna shot his ass. This is such a bad spot for me, but it's fine. I guess. Like, I don't take it. You see who winning? You see who died? You see who stuck? I need a running gunner to come get these damn tags, bro. They beat me.
Убитый подтверждено.
What the hell is this? That needs to be taken out. Oh, wait, we're on this side now? Oh, damn.
Confirmed one.
Got your six. Right, out!
Hostile UAV in the area. We're getting hit hard.
Planting sonar!
Oh, sorry, it's like around here? In here? Oh, they left. Oh, they shot him. Everybody's like over on the right? I mean, this guy is just over here, like, what is going on?
Flash incoming!
Oh! I hated that for me.
Check
That for you.
Kill confirmed. Enemy UAV
Oh.
active.
I didn't even know if that was my teammate or not. I ain't gonna hold you.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Bro, how are... This girl is mad.
Mission failed.
Please, nobody wants to hear your shit. That's me. Of course. 35 kills. Jane Doe had 15. That's actually not bad. Oof. I gotta work on it. It's because this is kill confirmed. Bro, low key, hardpoint and free for all might be the move. Oh, I got an attachment. What is that? Where's
Yeah, baby.
Hell no, I ain't got no damn TDM. Oh! What is it ding? I might know. Wait, how many rounds do I have now? It's making me heavier though. So I'm not doing that. Oh, we got a sight. Oh my god. Wait, which one is this? Alright, let's try this. Stock. Lowering accuracy. We'll see how this feels. What's a good gun? What's the meta gun? That's what I'm like, what's the meta gun right now? Shit. Unlocked by leveling the STB to level 20. You know. What's a battle rifle? M4 ain't bad, low key. I want to try them battle joints. Actually, I could stay for a while now. I could go for a little bit. What time you get home, show? TDM. Ain't this where it was trying to put me? Show was. Everybody on controller. Ain't not a near person. No, I think it like tracks who's on controller and stuff now. I want an M&K though. Like that's the thing. Like I really want to.
I'm on your 6.
What the heck was that? Oh, did I forget to mute them? Shoot. Yeah. I could have not did that.
Taking the lead.
I like this map. I hope they give it to me more often. That double so bad. Damn. Bro, is it not double XP weekend or something? Like, what the heck? They could have made launch double XP, no? Dang. I feel some type of way. Or is it? It might be. Usually launch is double XP, isn't it?
We've lost the lead.
It's fine. We got this. We hype out here. Ooh, rank 10 already? Ooh, we're halfway to 20. Let's go. Bro, I want my golden guns.
We secured the lead.
Tomorrow.
The enemy taking the lead.
Huh? Wait, who shot you? Oh, I saw him. Oh my god.
We've lost the lead.
We know. We're gonna get it back. We're gonna get back the lead. Shut up. The announcer be hype, bro. The announcer be like on your neck. Like, oh my god, you lost the lead. Like, damn. Can I get a chance? once, it's like you count me out. Let's see him.
Our UAV is orbiting the area.
Oh man, I'm just walking into them.
Fast hands online.
Fast hands. Oh, almost died.
We have taken the lead. Friendly UAV online.
Covering your 6.
I'm so dazed for some reason. Thank you guys for the likes, by the way, and subscribing to the channel. I'm gonna be on COD.
I have your back.
Enemy in the area.
Who's carrying us, low-key? Pooter? Alright, who's Pooter shooting? Where your friend at? Because I know his friend is... What? Bruh. What? So they just watch me shoot their friend? Well, not their friend, but their teammate. Bruh. COD, in a nutshell, people just watch you dying.
Red spotted.
Switching mags.
I want to get... It's very difficult. I said what I said and I did it. I said I wanted a double. Now I need to call out the triple, yeah? Bro, this loadout is, I ain't gonna hold you, it's kind of lit. As soon as fast hands, the minute fast hands goes off with my LMG, oh baby, Why are shooting over here? Oh! It's fine, I deserved it.
High alert online.
There we go, high alert. That's when the yellow is gonna start popping up. I like fast hands better.
The enemy is gaining
Covering
ground.
your 6.
Push them back.
I'll push them back. They are gaining though. What? How? I wasn't even running. Okay, whatever. Oh my god! I cannot freaking win! Are you serious? Where were they coming from?
On your 6.
Whatever, bro. I'm so
Hostile UAV in the area.
It's them. Where the other one? 'Cause I know there's another one. They're just traveling freaking paths. Oh, I knew his friend was here. It's cool though. Trust me though, it's cool though. You out here chasing cool love.
I'm reloading.
Cool side. Even if I did try to stop.
Threats in the area.
We live in pits. That's not my end goal. I need some gangster music to listen to while I'm like playing this game.
Enemy incoming. I'm with you.
I want me to.
Changing mags.
I gotta get like a bunch of doubles right now. Shoot. Oh my god! I hate him.
Hostile SAE near your position.
I don't even know why I'm trying to run and gun with this damn big ass gun.
Hostile launched a cruise missile.
Deploying portable
active.
radar.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Damn, they coming far now. I don't even got a UAV to spare. They've been running twos. But it's cool. When me and Shell getting no, they know I'm here. I don't care. I was trying to eat. The objective is to stay alive as long as possible.
Taking fire.
This little booty ass teammate just following us every footstep.
On your 6.
Oh, he came on my back.
Planting mine.
You do that. You plant that mine. Let me be the bait. It's okay. Let me do it. Shoot him. I'm not gonna get it.
We're getting hit hard.
Deploying portable radar.
Hostile cruise missile incoming. Enemy UAV active.
I'm about to get ate up. Go upstairs. Running like oh my god. Are you winning, son?
Return to base.
I'm winning. I don't know about this team though. How you be like I'm winning something? Look at that. Can I see the game player? I'm doing great. I'm great. I'm 1.2. 1.12. I'm great. Hi, Gigi. I was saying hi to you earlier. What happened? Okay, what's that? A barrel and I'd be looking at these attachments, low key. Bro, why is it saying I'm level 9? I'm level 10 in it. I didn't hate that. I just don't think I needed that. You know what I'm saying? Not a laser. I don't know, damn laser. Okay. What's this one? Handy knife. Yeah, the best pictures I handle. If anything, I changed the grip. Or let's try that. Damn. I actually like that loadout a lot. Let's do an MP4 one. Because I think didn't I get something for that? Nope. They said no ma'am. It wasn't yours. Okay. So just in case they give me like but I'm really going for my LMG stuff. If y'all know, you know. If you know, the girls that get it. Bullet. Hey Gigi. Oh, did I miss it? What did you miss? Hello, Chief. Hey, the bees. What's up? We just got home, so I wasn't really paying attention to my phone until I got upstairs. It's okay. How you doing? Are y'all gonna be playing COD this year. Make sure y'all like the video, share it if you can. And the girls who don't zone. If you guys don't know me, I'm Allie. You could call me Allie. I'm so used to saying my Twitch introduction, which is when I'm RPing and saying I'm Allie, but I I role play as, but no, I'm Allie. I play video games, variety streamer. Ooh, you met. Okay, so you might see in the beginning of this. Don't worry. Because it's such a plague port.
Got your cover.
I don't know what. I know they have a co-op mode.
Confirmed.
I don't
Get
know
to
what
the
their
hard
PvE
point.
modes are, honestly. Wait, shot me from where? We didn't even know this was the thing.
The lead is ours.
I got from the back. I'm killing everybody. The sights, boy. I didn't even remember I had it.
Loading. I'm with you.
Where is everybody? Wait, was this door open? I want to play this with freaking Flash. That's what I need to. What's the
Next hard point. Get ready.
Damn, we ate up this whole.
Grenade!
Enemy UAV overhead.
Location updated. Capture the hard point.
They really just 2 clicks to the right. I know you freaking mind. Did they really just move it here? Oh my god. That is wild. Then again, I'm never on the hard point, so I don't even be knowing how it plays. Shoot.
Loading.
Who's shooting?
Enemy targets at the hard point.
Chasing man.
Hard point relocating. Stand by.
You can try to snipe me, bitch.
Chasing man.
Target area updated. Hard point.
You hear me? That teammate, he's been popping the whole time. It's cool. I was up for a long time, Loki. Did I even die? That's my first death? Shoot.
Fast hands online.
Going to the point. Going to the point. Let's go.
Threats in the perimeter.
No UAV in the area.
You can't outgun an LMG, motherfucker. Ooh, I saw the sniper. I saw the sniper.
Confirming next hard point.
Changing
Stand
mag.
by.
It's fine.
Throwing flash. Loading.
Oh, they're sniping from the
Hard
top.
point
Okay.
relocated. Secure the
Fine,
target
we're
area.
here. Okay, they got little points or whatever. It's fine. You can come see from.
Deploying portable radar.
Come and see me now. Yeah.
Flash! Watch your eyes! Subtext incoming!
Oh,
Hardpoint
come on, that was
compromised.
point
Secure
blank.
the area.
Y'all could have gave me that. You wouldn't even come
Visual
see
on the
me.
Our
enemy.
UAV is orbiting the area.
What the hell y'all doing?
Friendly cruise missile approaching target.
Mission is half complete.
Friendly UAV online.
What? Oh,
Locating the
wait,
next hard
what?
point. Get ready.
Oh,
Friendly care
I know
package
where
on the
he
way.
is. It's fine. All I know is I'm gonna try a hardcore once I get
Threats in the
comfortable with
perimeter.
that, 'cause I know that joint probably.
Location updated. Capture the hard point.
Enemy in the area!
Come on, breach, ho. Why it flashes look like a
High
cutscene
alert
about to
online.
start? It does.
Our UAV is orbiting the area.
Enemy targets at the hard point.
Bro, she really gave me an assist? An assist though?
Hard point compromised.
Wow. This is not me blowing up.
Confirming next hard point. Stand by.
Friendly
Requesting
UAV online.
flyover.
Target area updated. Move to the hard point.
I need a streak. Bro! I know he got a friend.
Friendly UAV on station.
The guy that I saw. You never come see me.
Hard point relocated. Stand by. Hard point relocated. Secure the target area. Compromise. Secure the area.
Hostiles launched a cruise
What is he
missile.
doing?
Enemy UAV active.
Oh, I didn't see him up there. I know he waited. That's fine. So
Friendly UAV online.
Why am I running in there? Oh, stupid. Close this door.
Friendly cruise missile deployed.
How's Arkham,
Locating the next hard
Jason
point.
was playing
Get
it.
ready.
I look want to do a playthrough on here. With it.
Our UAV is orbiting in the area.
Target
Bro,
area
is that
updated.
on the
Move
roof?
to the hard point.
Man on the roof, bro.
I'm with you.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Bro, the fact that I haven't been on a point for this long and I still got the
Hostiles
most-
launched an SAE.
Let me go back around.
Hostile cruise missile launched.
Really did something there, though, buddy. Good job.
Confirming next hard point. Stand by.
Oh, man. Why is somebody's name Fat and
Location
Juicy?
updated. Capture the hard point.
I'm screaming at Fat and Juicy. Wait, is this it? Oh, shoot. Can I close the door? Man. I have to close this door.
Enemy counter UAV is active. Hostile UAV in the area.
Gaining ground.
Throwing
Don't
flash
let up.
grenade! Suppression mine set.
Enemy target at the hard point.
What? Bruh. It came from the side.
Hard point compromised. Secure the area.
Projecting
located.
mine.
Secure the target area.
Nobody here? Hello?
Friendly UAV on the way.
I think the area changed. Damn. Whoa! What? I need to be quicker than that.
I'm with you.
I'm mad I missed that spin. I
Multiple
might have to
enemies.
be like a tad. I don't even know if I downloaded my card.
Confirming next hard point. Stand by.
Content. I'm playing
The
dead
enemy
right
has
now.
the lead.
You're rocking LMG always.
Changing
It forces
back.
me to slow down.
Target area. The hard point.
It like teaches me discipline more so. And
Taking the lead.
that could have been a trick.
Enemy targets at the hard point.
This is how I look. Oh my god, damn sniper. Hold on.
Our UAV is
Recon
orbiting the
flyover.
area.
Enemy incoming. Holding.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
Okay, let's go.
Locating the next hardpoint. Get ready.
Oh, I missed my shots. Damn, I'm missing a lot.
Threats in the perimeter.
Friendly SAE
Cover
launched.
deployed.
Location
This is
updated.
my first time on this
Capture the
map.
What's
hardpoint.
your
I don't know. It looks like the other map, but
Friendly UAV online.
Planting sonar!
Enemy targets at the hardpoint.
I'm with you.
oh, that is a good one.
Hardpoint
Oh,
compromised.
man, they
Secure
trying to
the
come
area.
back. I don't like that.
Threats in the perimeter.
That was AFK.
Visual on the enemy.
Hardpoint relocating. Enemy targets.
I was because I jumped and my sight was
Relocated. Secure the target area.
Ready for tasking.
damn. We lost.
Mission compromised. Windows.
Fuck yeah!
Oh my god, not the kids. I know. I was trying to. I had like the most time on the point. That's crazy. 27, 24. Like for me to be learning ones is wild, Loki. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm gonna let you finish. But for me to be learning, cause I didn't do beta or none of that. So for me to be, it's kind of impressive, at least for me. Shit. Trying to think if I need that muzzle. What do I need? I need. What? I didn't just use. Did I just use the MP4? Oh my god, I did, didn't I? I'm gonna try this with this. Come on. Oh, no. It was. No, it wasn't this. I don't even know what the hell I was using. That's crazy. Free for all. Oof. All right, let's go. Mute all these hoes. I want a free for all today, so we're gonna see if we can run it back. Big W. Not Big W. It says switch allegiance. Well, how do I switch? Because it's not making me. Really? I like it if it's not too much. There used to be a free for all. I think was it Battlefield? I don't even know if it was Battlefield or what. And it used to be like 32 people in there. That joint used to be annoying. No, I think that was like one of the Call of Duties. Had to be. Because it was like a small map, but it was like mad heads in there. And I was like, hunting rabbits. Where's that haven't been spotted? Okay. It's a nice map. Is this the clown map? No. Dude.
Enemy UAV active.
Yo. Why remind me of the clown map from Advanced? Where did this fool come from? Oh god.
Hostile mortar strike in the area.
Who's he striking? I like free for all because you don't have to guess it into your team.
Hostile
So
SAE
I
near
usually
your
play it
position.
early. I usually play it early. I'm not seeing anybody. It's the crazy part, and it keeps putting me all the way on the side. Nobody got a goddamn union. I'm trying to be in the mix. Trying to be in the mix like it's Apex. Third party. Gang. I think somebody about to shoot me. That's too bad. That's petty.
Fast hands.
Oh, not fast hands. It's over for y'all. Maybe like I ain't gonna hold you, but it's over for y'all. I'm only third. I don't like being over here. I'm trying to be in the middle of this. Be on my sides. RPG for what? Jerk. Now people gonna come up here thinking it was me. I knew it! I was like, that man was freaking... I was like, that man was freaking RPGing folk. I went up there and killed him, and now they gonna think it's me. It wasn't me. Somebody timed out. Might be an emptier lobby, low key.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Oh, that's close. Wait a minute. Oh man, I just messed up so bad. Oh, I messed up. I was in the mix too. Damn. thought you sniping. The other lobby I was in. Actually, I think the other map might just.
Counter UAV.
Oh, I knew he was coming back. I don't know. I got stuck on the. When you don't know a map. When you don't know a map.
Hostiles launched a cruise missile.
This right here is a kill zone. He could just have a sight on it. I don't want to be in the middle anymore. Be like, I learned my lesson. It's all camping, looking. First free for all was a better showing. I don't know. This map is okay. It's not the best. Oh, come on! Man's on a 5-kill streak. That's what's
Hostile care package in the area.
It's just like everything looks the same. I can't get used to the map. It's fast. I hate Dusty. What the? Oh, it was a care package. Oh, so many corners. Oh my god. Okay, this is a bad time. Oh, I'm not getting used to it.
Hostile SAE incoming.
It's just like everything. Oh. I'm sitting so bad. Oof, I needed a posture kit.
Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy UAV active.
Enemy UAV active. Enemy UAV up ahead.
Enemy counter UAV is active.
Enemy counter. Somebody was up in here. Oh! Bro, that sniper's nest is a booty hole. Okay, so I don't like this map. I like the other map. It's too big. Not too big. It's not even too big. It's too much. I don't know. I hear somebody. Where? Oh.
Hostile cruise missile launched. Enemy UAV overhead.
Pretty sure he was aiming at something. Yeah, that way. I don't like being up. It's like up and down, corner, corner, corner. So I'm trying to like. Oh. I think somebody was shooting you. I hate that man. Just flashbang your whole life. Yeah.
60 seconds left.
Wait, what?
Hostile UAV in the area.
It's my first time on this map. It's a lot of corners. Next time we'll get them. I'm gonna take that freaking thing.
30 seconds. Enemy UAV active.
Oh, that's a good long shot. I think I'm last.
10 seconds.
I'm just trying.
Mission compromised. We are defeated.
Yeah, it was okay. You carry me, Ellie. I'm gonna make a short of the free-for-all that I won earlier. That was lit. That was fun. This map is I don't know if it's bigger or I don't know. It's like everything looks the same, you know? Carry you. Wait, are you playing? I'm playing with anybody. Just what is it? My Activision name is what is it? I think it's like AlleyCat 1278. Let me look. Give me lit. Bro, why is it freezing? What's going on? Bro, what? Domination, United States of America. Oh, this is the border. Oh, snap. So dramatic, but I did the scene just now.
Watching your six, soldier.
Securing Charlie.
It's only me and two people. Okay.
We control Charlie.
This is gonna go already.
We have the lead. Enemy securing
How did
Bravo.
you miss that? Bruh. Like, did you guys see me die? He was probably
Enemy in the area!
Oh, this is the first map I did.
Got your back.
Enemy is securing Charlie.
Here.
Shit. Bravo.
They're in this tunnel like wild.
Secure Bravo. Bravo secure.
So way I could just tunnel all the way to A.
We have secured the lead.
Alicia. Somebody's definitely here. I just don't know where. Oh, I looked the wrong way.
We are losing Charlie. We control 2 objectives.
I'm losing Charlie.
The enemy took Charlie.
Oh, come on. Oh, so I took off a
Securing
lot of the
Alpha.
motion stuff.
Alpha secure.
So I'm not getting as dizzy. Because they had like an accessibility setting for motion. So
Enemy is securing Alpha.
Because if you guys know, when I used to run this for like a while.
Get lost Alpha. Online. securing objective Alpha.
Visual on the enemy.
Enemy is taking Bravo. Enemy controls 2 objectives. Push the offensive.
Enemy incoming. Changing mag. Grenade!
Taking Charlie. Charlie secure. Enemy is securing Bravo. Enemy is taking Charlie.
Yeah,
enemy
it
took
just
Bravo.
makes me dizzy.
Enemy is securing
So
Charlie.
I'm glad that they added it. Like when you loaded up the game, it asked you like a couple things.
Requesting recon in my location.
Copy. UAV orbiting the AO. Recon
I
is
didn't
online.
realize I had a UAV.
Loading.
We are taking Alpha. The enemy holds 2 objectives. Get
Be advised, UAV is exiting the AO.
Bruh! I hate these grenades, bruh. I get it. But
enemy
I
is
hate
taking
'em.
Charlie.
Where is he? I need Bravo.
We are losing Charlie. We are taking Bravo. Copy, control Bravo.
Oh, we got 2 now. Okay. We can't.
Securing
I don't know if we
objective
can catch
Alpha.
up. We'll see. We need kills.
We are losing Bravo.
I don't
We
know
hold
why
all
I pressed
objectives.
that. I hate. Oh, this game makes you hate yourself so much. Oh my god. I just like.
Objective Bravo is compromised.
I
Take it back. Securing objective Bravo.
Where is here though?
Enemy is taking Alpha. Friendly SAE. Objective Alpha is compromised. Objective Bravo secure. Fight back. Our UAV is orbiting the area.
I just want to know who bombed A. That was really petty. Why would y'all bomb A? Y'all know they there. That's very petty and toxic.
We have the lead. Enemy is taking Charlie.
Maybe like the
Two objectives secure. We are taking
I
Alpha.
can't wait to play this with friends.
Enemy is taking Bravo.
Because I feel like it'll go faster too.
Kennedy. We have lost Bravo. Objective Alpha secure.
There B. Oh, is that the B?
Using drill charge.
We are losing Alpha. Secure Bravo. Enemy took Alpha.
Throwing shot stick.
We control Bravo. Enemy UAV overhead. Friendly UAV on station.
Where they at? Eh? How do you say enemy UAV? Oh, they saw us.
We are losing Bravo. We have secured 2 objectives.
Contacts incoming!
I couldn't dodge. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness.
Enemy is taking Bravo.
Throwing flash grenade!
Enemy is securing Charlie. The enemy took Bravo. Enemy is securing Bravo.
Oh, that's unfortunate. What's up, Adi? You out here
We are losing
clapping?
Charlie.
I'm more so trying to learn low key before I start clapping. Like, this is my second time on this map. Ooh.
Lost all objectives. Failure is not an option.
It's like you're learning.
Throwing shock stick!
Hostile cruise missile incoming. Hostile UAV in the
I
area.
won a free for all.
We've lost the
earlier,
lead.
though. That was
What's
my
your
highlight
buck?
of my day so far.
Securing objective Charlie.
Eh? Somebody popped in? I'm so confused. I thought somebody popped in.
Objective Charlie secure.
I'm taking enemy fire!
Hostile cruise missile launched. Hostile SAE near your position.
That was a good. That was good.
The enemy has captured 2 objectives. Move to secure.
Why he looking at me? This man. I was looking at her and I was thinking.
Enemy UAV overhead.
RPG, get down!
Securing objective Bravo. Enemy is taking Charlie. Bravo secure.
Bro! What guns is that?
Objective Charlie is compromised.
I feel like
We're
that's
losing
what
Bravo. Enemy UAV active.
Alright, we're level 12 on the gun.
Securing objective
Is it
Alpha.
really level 12? Because when I looked at it, it said
The enemy has
level.
captured all
It
objectives.
was like a
Take them
level
back.
below or something.
Control Alpha.
Oh, that was so
You're
dumb.
down.
I did something stupid because I was at C. Why did I do that?
Charlie secure.
We're losing. It's fine.
Enemy is securing Charlie.
It's because like when we have multiple, we need to get the kills. These maps feel
We have
so
lost
good,
Charlie.
like, so
Hostile cruise missile incoming. Hostile counter UAV
It's
overhead.
like-
Secure Bravo.
next.
Mission failed. Return to
Finally
base.
heading home. I'm about to get off right now. I appreciate y'all. I'm not streaming tonight on Twitch. I'm probably just gonna be chilling at home. I don't know. I'll let y'all know. Actually, just turn on notifications. It's not a guarantee. Actually, no. I'm not gonna be streaming tonight because I might be heading to my mom's. Because I want to see what's going on with my brother. So I don't know. I'll let y'all know. But thanks for hanging out. This is really fun. Is this one good? It feels good. It feels like an old COD, low key. I'm excited to try more. I'm trying to close it because I want to see if my other stuff. Oh, they are installed. So they gave us like content packs. I don't even know what they have. Oh, she could. I'm like, what is on them? No worries. I forgot you could attach a mouse and keyboard to Xbox, but who's gonna do that? Not me. right, y'all. Be great. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.